Good evening, everyone. I'm Vedashri Chandivar, and on behalf of team of Civil Engineering Society IIT Hyderabad, I welcome you all to this webinar on intelligent infrastructure monitoring by the team of Prophecy Sensalytics India, who have who are here on behalf of Signagard. Today, we have on our panel this team of Prophecy Sensalytics, which is a disruptive technology startup headquartered at Baltimore, USA, with presence in Kansas, Kolkata, Mumbai. I would like to welcome our guest speakers one by one. I'm pleased to welcome Satvik Chatterjee, sir, who is the Relationship Director with Prophecy Sensalytics. He is a seasoned marketing professional with more than 5 years of experience in business development, managing key accounts, and channel management. Satvik sir has worked extensively on IoT and connected sensor platform, Industry 4.0, and digitalization of infrastructural assets. He has completed his BTech in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from West Bengal University of Technology and holds his MBA with specialization in marketing and international business from Indian Institute of Social Welfare and Business Management. Welcome, sir.
Thanks a lot, Vadashri. I think there was a technical glitch, so we lost for a few seconds, and then again we joined back. So thanks for the fantastic introduction you have given for all of us and the company. So shall I take it off from here now, Vadashri?
I would like to introduce our other guests
Okay, no
as well.
problem. Go
If you
ahead,
would
for
like to
sure.
speak,
I think
yeah.
I think you can go ahead, not a problem. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So I'm also pleased to introduce to you next speaker, Dr. Animesh Paral, sir. He is the project manager, structural health monitoring at Prophecy Sensalytics. Animesh sir has been the author of some renowned technical journals, such as the Journal of Civil Structural Health Monitoring, Journal of Building Engineering, Journal of Structural Integrity. He is an ML enthusiast and also has work experience in computer aided high rise building design. Animesh sir is a civil engineering graduate from West Bengal University of Technology, having master's and PhD in structural engineering from NIT Durgapur. Welcome, sir.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
yes, sir. I'm again pleased to welcome our guest, Dr. Bishwajit Sahu, sir, Product Manager, Predictive Maintenance and SHM at Prophecy Sensalytics. His research area is focused on application of machine learning for intelligent data-driven machinery fault identification. Biswajit sir has done undergraduate in mechanical engineering from College of Engineering and Technology, Bhubaneswar. He has done his master's in machine design and analysis from NIT Rourkela and PhD in data-driven fault diagnosis and prognosis from IIT Kharagpur. Vishwajit sir is an open source contributor and has contributed TensorFlow code for Dive into Deep Learning book. He is also interested in expository writing. He is a recipient of Avsar 2018 award by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India for his popular science story, Fault Diagnosis of Machines. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Vidyasri. I think only Vishwajit would have been fine. Okay. And I think we would like to welcome all of you also. And we would hope to be up to your expectations. So you might have some expectations from us. We would like to be up to your expectations. Yeah, that's all from our side. Yeah. Yes,
Thank you, sir.
I'd like Satvik to take it over.
Yeah. So with this, before we begin the session, I would just have one request to all the viewers. If you have any questions or doubts, you can please post it in the chat box so we can follow up on them at the end of the session. And with this, I welcome Satvik, sir. So the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Vedashri. Thank you so much. I think, yes, what Vishwajit mentioned, it's absolutely correct. So we being a US-based company, it's always better you talk with the first name. So thanks once again. Anyway, so I'll just start with the presentation. So guys, just let me know if the screen is visible to you. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. We can see.
Yes,
this.
Sardik. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so good evening, everyone. I hope all the research people, all the students, and to all the faculties present in this evening, thanks for joining the webinar. So today we'll be talking about the latest intelligent infrastructure monitoring, and that has been the changing face of the SHM with the structural health monitoring, what we call, and with the change with the digital technologies and AI and advanced analytics that we are doing. So let's start with the presentation and with what we are actually doing. So it will be more of an interactive session rather than just a presentation. And I would request everyone, like as Vedashri mentioned, like in case you feel any query, any QS you have, do raise it up, and we will be happy to answer at the end of the session, and then we can have a QA session properly. So to start with the presentation, so I'll just go with the company brief, like who we are, where are we from, what we do. So you might be thinking the names of Machine Sense, Signagat and all. So we are Professor Sensalytics. We are based out in US and Baltimore, and we have our presence there in Kansas City in San Diego. And in India, we have a presence in Calcutta, where is our R&D lab and the corporate office. And we do have our presence in Mumbai as well now. So Prophecy has its two business unit or two branches, you can say. One is Machine Sense and the other one is Signagat. So when we talk about Machine Sense, from the name you can sense something. Yes, it's something about the machine part. We are sensing the machine, and absolutely that's what we are actually trying to do. So we are providing the solutions for machines health or the technology for machines and the industry together. So we offer Industry 4.0, offering the PDM solutions like the predictive maintenance and providing different other solutions on machine health monitoring or the power quality monitoring of the entire industry or in terms of the machines also. So this is where we are taking, and we say about saving the productivity and saving the machines and the maintenance with the advanced approach of the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and our patented algorithms or patented sensors or the hardware is what we have made so far. So this is from the side of Machine Sense what we are doing. So now let's come to the point of SignaGuard. So SignaGuard, it's the solution for public safety and sustainability. So when we talk about public safety and sustainability, it's more into the infrastructure side and the safety of the public, public health today. So here we do of the infrastructural health monitoring. What we are saying, so it's something more than just an SHM, because we call it intelligent infrastructure monitoring. So IIM. So that's what we are saying, and we definitely do the standard bridge health monitoring system. We offer the structural health of the tall buildings or the different iconic structures. We definitely do. But why intelligent? I think the more we get into the presentation, we'll talk about it. Why we are calling it as a intelligent infrastructure monitoring. And also there is a part we are doing onto when we are talking about public safety. So with the civil, there has to be a part of electrical also, because with the fires and with the today's fires that have been coming up maybe once or twice in a month, the most of the fires have been detected on the electrical equipment. So this is altogether what we are doing and what our company is all about. So now I'll give a brief about the management team, who are present and who is the management team actually. So the first, you see the name of Mr. Conrad Bessemer. So I hope like we all are engineers present here today. So by the last name of Bessemer, you would be reminding something of Bessemer's theory, what we have studied long back in our school days or in the early times. So it's Conrad Bessemer is the great grandson of Sir Henry Bessemer, who was the founder of steel, inventor of steel rather. And he comes from an industry experience of more than 45 years into plastic machinery developing business. So he's the founder for our company. We have Mr. Sudeep Majumdar as our CEO, who is again comes from an industry experience of more than 25 years into IT and digital. He has headed business with global companies like NNT, Pyramid Glass previously. We also have Dr. Biplab Pal. Biplab is also a PhD from IIT Kharagpur, and he has more than 20 plus years of experience into the sensors and analytics sides. And Biplab himself holds more than 15 plus patents into IoT, structural deflections, industrial 4.0, so in all particular domains. So he is the main the chief technical officer with us. We also have Agnimitra Biswas, who is delivery director, and he's also from IIT Kharagpur, and he was MBA from IIM Calcutta. So Agni also comes from a background of complete digital side. He had headed a lot of leadership positions with PwC, IBM, and a few other companies. And last, we have Mr. Pinak Dattare. So Pinak is the project advisor with us. He is again from IIT Delhi and IIM Calcutta. He is an ex-McKinsey also, who has been working with us as a project advisor to our all the ongoing and the upcoming projects. So this is about the management team. We also have on the board of advisors as a board member, Mr. Rakesh Chopra, who is an ex-Railway board member. We have Mr. Pramod Bangevar, who was a principal secretary of Maharashtra government. We have Mr. Achyut Ghosh, who is from Kolkata again. He was a bridge building expert to be known in the industry. And we also have Professor Pradipta Banerjee from Civil Engineering Department in IIT Bombay. So this is a whole team of management side and the advisory board who are actually heading the technology and everything. So this is just a brief about the company, what we are doing, and how we started off long back in 2014. So you see, like the company outline, it established in 2014, although we established in long back in 2012, but then 2014 we started developing the technology of this machines and structures and the complete technology combination with Internet of Things that we call IoT today. So that's how the journey started. So we started in 2017 with our first product launch of PumpSense. So PumpSense comes, I mean, when you heard the name of PumpSense, it actually senses the malfunctioning of a pump. So any pump working or any pump in the industrial plant, there are a lot of different types of pumps which work for a different way. And to analyze the future prediction on the future failure rate of the pump, we developed this PumpSense for one of our then water we came up with the product of something what actually gives you the side of power sense. I mean, it's actually the device that's going to give the prediction of the power quality, or when you talk about the power sense, or when you talk about the power health of an industry or of a machine, that's what it actually does. In 2019, we came up with a third product called Dryer Sense. That is mainly for one of our original equipment manufacturer, and we call it, it's an OEM manufacturer, again based in US. So we came up with that particular product. In 2019, we came up with the same product which we launched in 2017, but with an expert system, because that gives more data-driven approach to the customers or to the clients to have the analysis of the electrical faults. And in 2019, the last quarter, we actually launched in the market with our solution into this structural health monitoring, or you call it bridge health monitoring system. So this launch was after a catastrophic failure of one of the very renowned bridge in Calcutta, the Majurat flyover, that collapsed in that particular 2019. So in the late 2019, and then we immediately launched we came up with a solution for the structural health monitoring solutions. So this is how we actually, the product and the solutions we have come up today into the market. And we have, like, when you talk about Profesi, it's a company more into the side of technology and into the type of development and AI and this data science approach. So we proud to say ourselves an IP and IPO company. We have more than 20 plus patents filed with different current signature and different vibration signature and sensors based and into the analysis. We have now capability of manufacturing sensors both in US and India. We were also the scale-up partner, scale-up top 10 global startup in 2018 by Microsoft, where we were being also published in the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. So that was one of the side. We were being given the Gold Partner Award by Siemens, and we are still on Siemens MindSphere as well. Although our entire cloud platform that works, it's in Microsoft Azure. But yes, we do have the Siemens MindSphere platform as well. And in 2019, late 2019, we got the global GTM with L&T Next, which is into the SHM side, into the structural health monitoring. And then we actually shifted now, and we are having we complete diversification business into this SHM, or like the intelligent infrastructure monitoring as well. So this is about the company outline. If you just on a quick go through that, this is the company outline, and we also have the you can see on the right hand side the management suites. So it's basically the management suites means like the platform what we are actually providing. The Crystal Ball is the complete asset tracking monitoring platform or the dashboard where everyone, user can log in and see everything. I hope. In the presentation, my colleague Animesh would be giving you a detailed view of it, like how exactly the Crystal Ball platform looks like and what it does. So it's kind of a one-stop solution, you can say, where you can monitor your assets, your details, and everything. And also we have the own sensor QC and machine QC and diagnostic portal platform. These are more into the QC side of the sensors that are being deployed to the sites. So far was more into the side of our company, what we are actually doing. And now we will get into this new digital era of the infrastructure monitoring and what we are actually doing here. So we have been talking of a lot of infrastructure monitoring. We have been talking of a lot of intelligent monitoring. So what exactly that makes you understand? So we will now talk about it in more deep. So if you see, this is a comparison between what exactly and how exactly the future world is going to be and how was the old world actually. So on the left hand side, you see like this is what we are representing as a visual, a old world of SHM or the old world of monitoring of the structures. So there has to be more into the visual side, more into the mechanical and electrical, and the common term we know like the non-destructive testing that has been still it's going on. And a few into the instrumentation and database storage came up maybe in in the late 90s or in early 20s, and a few amount of discrete data storing and the discrete data showcasing, you can say, in that way. So that's how the old world is working, and I believe that's what one of the things that is still running today in the industry. Even I can give an example. Yesterday also there has been one of our business customer who was actually meeting us, and this was exactly what he told about. Like it's going to be like the next future is going to be the structural health monitoring with IoTs and sensors. So that's what we are actually showing here in the new world with the digital and artificial intelligence and the machine learning algorithms, with the advanced analytics algorithms. That's what we are showcasing here. So when we talk about the new world, it's all about like you talk about IoT, you talk about data, you talk about cloud. That's what we are doing, and we are taking it to the next level by the virtual reality, like the VR and the augmented reality, with the drone-based image analytics. So we have been taking up all this to a more, with a more advanced level, because we have seen and we have been seeing there has been a lot of structures, a lot of bridges, but there are few areas or like certain areas where physical intervention is not possible every time. So for that particular regions or the locations, the monitoring of those areas is becoming difficult today. So that's where the image analytics we are bringing together, like on a VR, you would be having a not a digital, not a physical directly. It will be a phygital reality, you can say. So you will be having a physical understanding of your structure or physical understanding of your asset, and you will be having a digital view on it. So that's what we are doing in this new world, and with the intelligent infrastructure monitoring as well. So I think this particular slide would give you a more understanding, like what exactly the structural health or the intelligent infrastructure monitoring, what we are saying is doing today. So we have, as I mentioned in my starting, like in the starting, about the different structures we are monitoring today. One is on the bridge side, maybe on the bridge, or maybe it can be a structural on a concrete bridge or a steel bridge or the cable street bridge, or it can be like also on the building side. So this is how exactly the system, what I was talking about, the crystal ball, and this is exactly how the system is going to work and is working today across different locations now. So the sensors would be installed on the bridges, and the data are being collected, and it's being going to the cloud. And from there, you are seeing the data visualization platform where all the assets would be monitored at a single place. And whenever any anomalies, let's say on your structural threshold is going beyond the threshold limit, it will be notifying to the asset owner, maybe to the user, maybe in email ID as well as in SMS. And also we have we have some of our patented sensors for the technology of our infrastructural health monitoring. So this is our, installed base of our technology algorithms that we have done so far, and we have a lot of others which can't be disclosed at this point of time. So we have taken few of them with the permissions of our customers and our clients. So these, the 5 you can see on the left hand side, these are all in India and in the eastern side majorly. So this is one of the structure in Calcutta, which is called Vishwa Bangla Gate, which is one of the critical structure, and we did the structural health monitoring over there with our intelligent solutions. And we have different other bridges also, mostly where we have done. And on the right hand side, you can see there are Galena Creek and this Build Immersion Bridge. These are in US. We have done in with our global student partners there also. So this is one side of it, what we have done. I think so. This is a small overview what I have given, and it will be more better because I'm taking it on a complete overview side. So it will be better. I'll just hand over this entire technical side more with to Animesh so that he can take it up, and I hope that will be a better prospect for you to understand. And in case of any query, you can also just go ahead. So Animesh, why don't you take it up?
Yeah, Satik, thank you, Satik. In the beginning, first of all, I would like to thank the Civil Engineering Society IIT Hyderabad for giving us the opportunity to present what we are doing on this structural health monitoring field. And my pranam and happy Diwali to all the dear professors from the structural health, the IIT Hyderabad. So we are here. Thank you, everyone, for giving us the opportunity to present. So I would like to present the rest of the sections. So most things have been covered by Satik. So few technical things or what we are doing in the analytics point of view and in the machine learning and artificial intelligence point of view, I'll be presenting that very briefly. I will be presenting. Yeah, I think my screen is appearing. So
Yes, yes.
okay, okay. And the catastrophic failures, like in the Miami recent failures, building collapse, and in the Genoa, Italy, the bridge collapse, and in our Kolkata Majerhat beats. So there have been so much of catastrophic failures, and after that, after the catastrophic failures, there have been lots of analysis going on, like here as the mentioned, gutter cracks are not repaired, and why the dangerous buildings are at the same. The main motive that only analysis of the post after breakdown analysis is there going on. So if we cope up with or seek the why the reasons associated with these structural breakdowns, so that may be classified into 3 classes, like the damages or cracks the low maintenance in some accessible positions. So there are so many of inaccessible positions where we cannot get into. Those issues, or to overcome those issues, so we have to address these issues like the detection of damages. If we detect damages, so we have to assure that where is the location of the damage and how much is the severity of the damage. And after that, we have to do the prognosis, like the assessment of the residual life. So then only a structure can be reassured as a safe or the in our serviceability conditions. So there are four main steps in the structural health monitoring. If we classify it, there is a famous book called the Farad and Doebling. It has been written then that the structural health monitoring can be classified as operational evaluation, data acquisitions, normalization, cleansings, and third is the feature extraction, data compressions, and four is the statistical model development. So what are those? So operational evaluation means we have to visit in situ in the near the structures. What is the current conditions? Where the sensorizations can be placed, and what are the critical parameters that can be monitored. So based on that, we have to take the decisions like the number of sensors and what will be the sampling rate and how the data will be transferred to the wired or wireless connection we want and what the client want. So based on that, we will first select the sensor numbers and we place them. After that, there comes the data acquisition parts and normalization. So when we collect the data, there have been lots of noises in the data. Sometimes what happens, if we set the sampling rate as a 40 hertz, we have been witnessing that we are getting data in terms of 17 hertz or the 25 hertz. So that thing we have to deal with in the day by day. After that, the feature extraction and the data compression, that is the most critical parts, and I assume that this part is quite in the research field, that feature extraction. So if we see the time series data, by observing the time series data, we cannot say anything. So for these reasons, we have to convert this domain into some other domain like the modal domain and the frequency domain. Those who are working on this SHM field, and they will be quite aware of this technique. And after that, those feature extraction, we have to make a statistical model that can predict or determine that what is the damage, where is the damage, and the residual life assessment. So there have been two parameters like what we are measuring in the structural health monitoring. So that is the local part and the global part. Local means there have been, for the local parameter assessment, there will be some techniques or the indirect techniques available like the acoustic emissions, ultrasonic pulse velocity, relative displacement sensors have been currently emerged for the bolt loosening detections. And the well-known method is the vibration-based method. That is, the vibration-based method can only be used for the global measurement like the mode shapes, vibration, frequency, modal frequency, damping, etc. So this is our current architecture, how we are collecting data, and we are storing in the cloud, and we are showing it into our UI. So we place different types of sensors: accelerometer, deflectometer, strain gauge, and all sensors we have that are the wireless. So to how now I will describe how our data system works here. So from the sensors, we connect the sensor into a data hub. That data hub can be modeled as a wired or wireless connections. And in the data hub here, we have some microcontrollers. Right now we are using the Raspberry Pi. So we are trying to shift on to ESP32. So after that, the from the Raspberry Pi, we send the data directly to the cloud, and based on the cloud, we have some UI and the backend. There is our user interface. So in this way, we present our data to our client. So these are the few of the sensors currently we are using. So one of these here is a sensor tag, the left one. static displacement. But if you closely look at, there are some 3 direction deflections, like the X, Y, and Z direction. If there is some bend on a bridge, there will be X direction deflections due to the centrifugal force or the reaction force. So that measurement also we are taking care of. Now, if we consider bridge structures, there have been few components like the guards. There have been so much of parameters to be monitored. I mean to say that you cannot place a sensor on a specific component, structural component, and then you cannot say that, okay, this is the health of the current structural health, or this is the damage level. So means there is a local damage, but somehow we have to assure that how it is. So this is few of our case studies that we have conducted in our pilot project in Bagajuddin flyover that is situated in our Kolkata. Here in the top left corner, it has been shown that the triaxial deflection, it is observable that in the X there is quite few values, and this is the temperature correction what we do in our analytics point of view, because due to temperature effect there will be some deflection in the structure, but you cannot say if there is some change in the deflection, you cannot say that this is being done due to for the structural health point of view, because there will be some changes due to temperature effect or some noises in the sensor. So basically we outlier detection algorithms. Now, this is the case study that also been done on the Bagajuddin flyover. This is the frequency spectrum on the Bagajuddin flyover. The sensor was placed on the mid span, and we have calculated the fast Fourier transform to check the dominant frequency components between the 2 time span. One is 2020 February, and second one is the 2021 July. So there have been noticed in the blue part, it is showing means there is a dominant frequency at the 12.5 hertz. And if we check close that the peak of this near this 12.5, not anything that the structure is being deteriorated or there's damage or something like that. Even unless we check all the parameters, so all the parameters associated with the structure health, then only we can get the actual deflection. So that is why we are here incorporating all the parameters like the temperature effect and the temperature effect, load and load patterns, and other uncertainties into these deflection equations. For these reasons, we are calculating the deflection versus time and the temperature versus time and their individual correlations, means how they are correlated. So based on that data, we are generating process. So if you do some age analytics or AI, artificial intelligence, from there you also get the load data, and the current technology is the WIN sensor, weighing motion sensor. And what here we are doing, we are not using those kind of any sensors. We are calculating here the resonance, the number of resonance, means here we are calculating the indirect measurements of load pattern. So if a vehicle moves and that some resonance. So electrogram, we are applying some wavelet type analysis and checking the total number of this dominant frequency content in the whole time span. So if you check this one, there has been a high hit spot in this 12.5 frequency range. So in this way, we are calculating the total number of resonances. So this our research and development part they are doing. And so lastly, I would like to show this is our dashboard, means the user interface. So what we are supplying or delivering to the clients. That bridge I am talking about, that is the Baghajuddin Knoll Bridge. This is the Baghajuddin Knoll Bridge. And there is another section called the virtual tour. Virtual tour is like we have taken few pictures in a 3D camera. So there also have been some hotspot, means if you click those hotspot, they will give you closer pictures of these girder images, like whether there is a crack or there is some rusting or spalling. So these images will be continuously updated. And these are some raw time series data based on the client's requirement, like what they are wanting. They are wanting like the raw data or FFT, or they are wanting any analytics point of view. So based on that, we are providing. This dashboard is for building health monitoring. This is our office building. We have installed 3 seismic accelerometer in our office building in the 3 floors. So these are the data, time series data, peak count accelerations, and the seismic intensity we have computed. So right now we are having some means the data are within the threshold limit, and there is option also you can compare the data between the two dates, means you can check whether there is a greater five or the increasing vibration in between any time. So you can also check from our interface. So why clients should engage with us? Actually, we are deep technology driven companies, and we have more than 20% of PhDs in our organization, and we have collaborations with IIT Kharagpur and few of the eminent universities in abroad. We have global and 9 technology collaboration in emerging fields. We have also the capability to design, build, and edge sensors. And we have also our own R&D section, R&D sectors, that those who are working on the edge analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So thank you everyone. If you have
Vishwajit sir. No? Thank you, Animesh sir.
Yeah, actually, Animesh has presented what I was going to say. So if you have any questions, you can ask. We'll try to answer.
Okay, sure, sir. I think we already have a question in the chat box.
Yeah, Vishwajit, you can go ahead with the answers. I think me and Animesh, we could not give much time on this, so let's give it a chance to Vishwajit for the QS now.
Satik, you are on mute, I think.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, I think so. For the QA sessions, let's hand it up to Vishwajit. I think he has been in the call, but we could not give him a chance for the presentation to talk more about the technical side. So Vishwajit, you can take up with the question and answer session. There has been a good question on the railway structure interactions with the sensors. So I think you can take it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me see. Can we do rail structure interaction with these sensors? Yeah, basically the answer is yes. So in rail structure, basically there are two monitoring strategies. Either we can monitor the railway track itself or the corresponding structure, because these metro rails where you have to design different separate bridges, tunnels for metro rails. So there are two monitoring aspects here. So one is basically for those associated structures with respect to railways, and another is the railway track monitoring. And in both those cases, let's say, for example, you are monitoring railway tunnels on which the metro rail would be moving. So in that, the tunnel might, there are different strategies, like vibration. Vibration is the usual suspect there. So the vibration level should not go above a fixed limit. So accelerometers are placed there. Then also we see settlement. So let's say tunnel is there above which there might be some buildings. So because of that tunnel, is there any settlement of the ground? So that also it gets monitored. And if there is any crack inside the tunnel, that is also monitored. So there are different sensors are there for each particular task. And coming back to the railway track monitoring, yeah, they are because railway tracks are welded tracks. So they check there what is the stress level that is being experienced by the railway track. So usually strain gauges are placed there to monitor the strain of the railway track itself. And by using those monitoring techniques also, we can say when the railway track needs a maintenance or when the rail is approaching. By the way, the rail tracks, in rail tracks, vibration is also used to monitor the labels, such that if a vehicle is or the railway is coming or the rail buggy is coming, then we'll get to know at what velocity it's moving or where it is at present. So yeah, that's what I would answer. So Animes, if you want to add, Animes or Satyak, if you want to add anything to these answers, you can add anytime.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yes. Yeah, so somebody has raised
Yeah,
his hand.
Sumit.
Sumit.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation. Actually, I want to ask this complete procedure after taking the data. This whole procedure is time based or it is working on the frequency domain. Like we have two methods, like in time method also and frequency domain also. So, in which part you guys are doing?
Yeah,
Like,
so yes, so the data is collected in time domain. So we collect depending on the sampling rate of the sensor, we collect just with those data points, and then it depends on what type of analysis you want to do. If let's say the analysis can be done using time domain data, we do the time domain analysis, because sometimes for bridges we check what is the vibration level there. So that can easily be obtained from the vibration signal itself, accelerometer signal that we are getting. That is the time domain signal. So if whatever we want to do, it can be done in time domain, we do that. And later frequency domain we also do, because most of the information is not available in time domain data. So like Animesh showed you on frequency wavelet based approach. So that is done to get what is the frequency of interest, what is the natural frequency of the structure. So yes, whenever those type of information is required, we definitely do frequency domain analysis. And if something can be done in time domain data, we do time domain analysis. And by the way, our system is capable of both time domain analysis as well as frequency domain analysis. So you can do it as per your requirement or as per your need.
okay. And another question is initially Mr. Shakti Chatterjee had shown that Vishwa Bangla Gate is there.
Yes.
So there is a permanent based health monitoring is there or such a temporary based?
So it seems like you are from Calcutta. Your interest goes more into the Calcutta side. Thanks, Sumit. Thanks for your question. Yes, absolutely. We have done it for quite a long time, because the structure, if you remember, there was supposed to be a big, circular structure was also supposed to be installed, but it's not installed yet over there. I think,
Just a
yes.
second. Sorry to interrupt, Satyak. Animes, yeah, can you please go on mute when Satyak is talking, because we are getting echo here. Yeah, Satyak, please.
Oh, so sorry. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Yes, Sumit. So yes, we have installed it for a quite longer period of time, and it was completely a project which was given, because before the reopening or the opening of the structure or the restaurant over there, the people visiting place, it needed a structural health monitoring, and that was being done by us. So that's what we have done there. So if you talk about the current installation base, we have the installations in other areas, like as we have mentioned, on Bagajitin, then in Varipada, and in Odisha, and other places also. So these are the current places where we are installed now.
Okay.
And just to add what Satik said, usually those monitoring, these requirements come from the government agencies, and they sometimes require 5 years of monitoring, sometimes they require 10 years of monitoring. So depending on their need, we propose our solution, or our solution works for that much duration.
Yeah,
Usually it's
exactly.
3 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So any more questions, Vedashri, from?
Okay, so I have a small question. So you mentioned about how it's a combination of physical as well as digital, I mean virtual, not completely virtual reality. Can you please elaborate a bit more on that?
So it's more of a digital we are calling. I mean, it's not virtual. I would say it's more of a mix of digital and the physical. What we are doing, what we are trying to show. So if you remember the dashboard, what Vishwajit or Animesh took up in the presentation, so it will be actually a tour where we would be getting, let's say, if a sensor is installed at one of your girder, at some of the particular girder, and it's not possible for you to every time go to that particular physical site and look at the area how it is currently located or how the current situation is. So that's what we are doing there. I mean, through a 360-degree view of the image, and you would be getting an option of getting the live data from that particular point of area. So what means is, if it's installed at the girder, it will be showing you the sensors there, and in the image itself, in the physical, I mean in the digital image, you would be having the option of clicking directly on that particular area. So that gives you a digital data on the physical view. So that's where you are getting the physical and the digital together. We are calling it phygital view in that sense.
Okay,
And
so is it
I would like to add one point to what Satik just mentioned. Actually, yeah, after the digital, we have also capability for digital twin. So
Right.
why do we need the digital twin? Because ultimately, a total breeze is 1 kilometer long, or it might be 500 meters long. So it's not possible to say put sensors on every part of it. So usually a sensor is placed at one point, and then after 50 meters distance, 100 meters distance, another sensor is placed. So whatever happens in between, or because there are many parts there where we have not placed our sensors yet, because sensor is placed only at few locations on a one
Right.
kilometer long breeze. We might place at max 50 or 100 sensors, but there are many other locations where we haven't put any sensors. So the point of creating a digital twin of it, because we'll get data from our actual breeze, and we'll correlate that data to our digital structure. And once we get our actual data, put it in our digital twin of it, then we'll simulate the digital twin. And if we find out, let's say there is some other location where no sensor has been placed, but our digital twin shows that there might be some critical phenomena occurring, or some critical fault is going to occur there, so that we can get and go and inspect that place. So that's the whole purpose of creating a digital twin of it. And as Satik also mentioned, we create a VR based, AR VR based methods to actually give people a feel of it. Otherwise, if we just show the data, no point, no breeze is there. So people only see what data we are getting. But if we show them actually the physical breeze as well as where we have placed those sensors, then they get a feel at what type of data they are getting and what data they should expect.
And interestingly, just to, I mean, add a question from our side and to make you aware of it, like if you remember the, I mean, the image of like the data flowing model, what we showed on a bridge, how it's working. So there was a camera was also shown I mean, in the schematic diagram. So that's basically, as Vishwajit now mentioned about, I mean, on a physical site, it's not possible every time. I mean, only digital graph or data is not going to help you out, or the predictions also you're getting on your structures, future health, future prediction you're getting. At the same time, the camera is going to give you the live feed of the load that is there. I mean, what is the deflection or what is the vibration you are getting on that particular span, let's say, if you're talking about, or particular girder area you are talking about. So along with that particular load of the vehicle is going, whether it's an overloaded vehicle going or it's a very overloaded, so you'll be getting that feed as well. So that's also is added over there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome, Vedasri.
Yes.
So any other questions? I think
Somebody has raised.
yeah, but I can't
Sir,
see.
am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, yes, please.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the presentation. Sir,
Yeah, can
I
you
got
please?
idea, basic idea of what you are doing or what you are trying to do. I just want to know what we students can do in the future and what are your plans in the future. Basically, you have developed all your sensors and you are digging into deep into structural health monitoring. So, as students, in what aspects we should be searching in to get more into structural health and monitoring?
Yeah, so Satvik, should I proceed first?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Take the
So
lead.
basically, yes, basically we are not doing only sensor-based things. So sensor is one part of it. The we call it intelligent monitoring. That intelligence parts come from the analysis of the data because you will get many sensors at many places. So sensors are easily available in the market. So just by getting sensors and getting their data is not enough. How to interpret that data? Because accelerometer should give you acceleration data, but what the data means, the analysis comes is the critical part here. And as students, we would encourage you to focus more into that approach. So how to interpret that data? In I am from, my background is mechanical. So basically what we do, we place sensors on the machine, and from that data itself we have to predict whether what type of fault is there in that machine, when that machine is going to fail. So that analysis comes from the research. So you have to know those techniques, we have to study those techniques so that how to analyze the data and how to make those predictions. So that part, yeah, we would like you to explore more, because there is still more research is going to be done in this field. Now what we anyway, one person he mentioned that time domain and frequency domain approach. So frequency domain, that FFT, basically frequency analysis is done using FFTs. So that's also 1960s. So these days, how, and that has its own limitations also. FFT analysis will not give you all. So you have to come up with different algorithms, different approaches to analyze the data and to infer what type of, whether there is a crack is there, how, what is the size of the crack, or if some other types of fault is there, how to predict it from just by looking at the data or just by analyzing the data. And there, that AI and ML comes into play. You might have heard, we have many times said AI, ML, AI, ML, many times we have throughout our presentation. And that's what we mean. How do you analyze? And these days, using machine learning, you can easily analyze vast amounts of data. By the way, if I give you an estimate, every day from one sensor itself, one sensor only, we collect 1 GB, more than 1 GB of data, and we store it in our system. So you can think of, if you have 100 sensors, what would be the volume of that data? And now comes means the civil engineering part. You have to analyze the data and make inferences of it. So as a civil engineer, we would hope that you enter into this field and you do research in this field and come up with new approaches, how to analyze vibration data, how to analyze say deflection data, strain gauge data, to come up with some predictions. So that would be our opinion, I would say. Yeah,
Absolutely,
Satvik,
Vishwajit.
if
I
you want to
think
add anything, you
no,
can.
I think you have given a fantastic note to Divya, I guess, to her question. So Divya, like the last part, what Vishwajit mentioned about this future researchers and everything. Yes, absolutely. When you're talking about the future prospects into this field, so you might have seen the presentation from the beginning. So we were talking about few professors from different institutes in India also. So he has filed more than 200 papers till now into this particular domain, and even still he's, I mean, going up with more papers into it. So when we talk about this digital era, like when we talk about the digital part of it, so it's definitely huge right now. I mean, this is what the future is going to have. I was talking about example during my presentation about yesterday's experience I had with one of my colleague, you can say. So it's from a different NDT based or like a different structural side. So he was also predicting, I mean, giving the same experience. Like that's going to be the future now. I mean, this is going to be the future of monitoring the structures or assets, and like the entity what we they have been doing. Maybe down the line, next 5 years or 10 years, it's going to be all about intelligent monitoring, or maybe at some point it's going to be standard SHM. That's what.
Yeah, I guess I can see another question from Bhuvnesh in the chat. So he asks, who all have the access to your data? Actually, that's a tricky answer. If we want, let's say we assume you to be the customer and you want full privacy in your case. So we can create a system for you. In that case, only you will have the access and no one else, not even us. In the general case, yes, the client would have access to data as well as we will be having access to data. And the other question is only the customer, or can it be used for academic purposes and research? Yes, as you said, if the customer is very finicky about privacy, we'll enable the system so that only the customer and only that person itself can visualize data, no one else. And if that person wishes to share the data with research or some organizations, then it's up to them. It's no, we don't come into picture there. So yeah, if somebody doesn't share, then definitely for research purpose, you will not have that access. I guess I have answered your question. Yeah, there is another hand. Murli, yeah, please.
Sir, thank you for the presentation. Sir,
Yeah, only this friend. Yeah.
sir, have you worked on the optimization of the number of sensors for a given particular area?
Yeah, yes, that's a very good question. Actually, at present we don't do any optimization. At present, we propose based on the designs. So you usually get GADs, general arrangement drawings of the bridges. So based on that, we propose sensors. And if you leave it to us, we would definitely propose more number of sensors, because the more sensor we place, the better representation of the bridge health we will be getting. But sometimes there are also limitations. The whoever approaches us, they have some monetary concerns also. So we have to honor that also. We can't say that we can place 100. There are 200 sensors need to be placed. We'll be placing 200 sensors. So it is not feasible for them to install that many sensors for 5 years or 10 years. So depending on the requirement, if they want, let's say, the number of sensors to be within 75 to 100, then in that case we see what would be the appropriate location for those 75 to 100 sensors. We don't go for the full monitoring or the, like I said, we don't go propose 200 sensors. Rather, we place all those 75 or 100 sensors at suitable locations. That what is the appropriate locations? Yeah, there are civil engineering structures. There are Animes, Dr. Animes is our structural expert. So
Yes, yes, yes.
we discuss and we propose where what is the ideal location. But as far as number of sensors is concerned, we don't do that type of optimization.
Yeah, to add Vishwajit also, there is a topic or research areas in structural health monitoring, like optimal number of sensor selections. So that is currently right now in the laboratory. So and also there in the industry there are two ways of sensorizations. Number one is the American way, and second one is what we are doing currently. American way is you get lots of sensor, you place them all over the structures. As the civil engineering structures have the lots of degrees of freedom, so this is also impossible to get the all parameters data. So in general, we what we do here, we put some accelerometer and deflectometer in the near the mid span in the two third and L by 3 locations. In this way, we place the deflectometer and the accelerometer, and also we place in the slab locations, critical locations, where we can get the maximum amount of deflection data or the vibration data. And also we focus on whenever you are doing some dynamic analysis, there is called the nodal point. We try to avoid those nodal points so that the sensor cannot be placed some of there. Otherwise what will happen, you will not get so much of means data you will not get. Whatever you will get, that will be the noise. So that's why we approach. We are not using those research area that optimal sensor localization Bayesian approach or Carnell approach. Right now we are not doing. We are using this based on our previous experiences with the consultation of the structural engineers.
Okay, sir. Thank you. One more question is like how we are going to minimize this temperature effect. Like in one of the presentation you have shown us like you have done some wavelet analysis or something like for this frequency analysis. In that you have given us some
Yeah.
temperature effect.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you have done some experiments
Yeah.
or like in the modulation you are giving some temperature effect correction.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's a nice question from academic point of view. So, what the sensor first to address this issue, we have to check what is the sensor. Right now, we are currently using deflectometer. So, our deflectometer is consist of one magnet also there. So, magnet will be affected due to the temperature, and also the girder or the bridge girder will be affected also temperature. So temperature effect we manually removed from our experimental approach in our office experimental. Like we have got some few datas in a few different temperature. We have got their deflections manually, and then we put them into a regression model that how it is going to behave. So based on that regression model, we have temperature correction for sensor itself. Now coming to the girder that how the temperature is affecting, we are using an algorithm called the outlier detections. So our analytics department handling those algorithms, the outlier detections. You can check the outlier detection algorithm.
So one more question like most of your work is completely global monitoring or both local and global monitoring. Like most of the cases
No,
you are giving us, only the vibration like accelerometer. So you are not looking into this local monitoring.
yeah, vibration parameter is a global parameter, and the
Yeah,
local parameter you will get. Hello, am I audible?
yeah,
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 the
yeah.
vibration parameters are all the global parameters. So currently we are measuring the vibration deflection. Those are the global parameters. So we are measuring the global parameters currently. Or
And
if you
I
if,
can
if
see
you
another
want to go
question:
the
are the patented instruments? Yeah,
okay
anyways, yeah.
to add this question, answer on this question, like if you want to measure some local inspection, you can do those local entities like UPV or acoustic emission sensor. From there you will get the information of the local cracks or any rusting and foliage. For global parameter assessment, you will need the vibration data, deflection data. That's it.
And yeah, there is another question from
Again, one
Ugnes.
more doubt like
Yes.
uh, already one guy asked you regarding the frequency analysis or time analysis. So if you are considering the time analysis, you are going to vary the these like time of flight variation or uh, like what is the main factor that you are going to use for this monitoring in case of time analysis?
See, so to answer that question, yes. So in time domain, let's say you are collecting some vibration data. So we first do that segmentation approach. We divide those full data into smaller segments, and for each segment we compute some features. Let's say skewness is a good feature, kurtosis is a feature, and there are some other important features. And we use those features and see how their values are changing or how the pattern is changing. And based on that, we do some predictions about the health or about the cracks or whatever. So that we say time domain analysis because whatever we do is based on the time domain data. We don't convert the data into frequency.
Yes, currently we are measuring.
Yeah, Animes, can you please repeat your answer? You are not audible.
Yes, currently we are monitoring the progressive deterioration. So deteriorations we are representing here in terms of the deflection. So day by day, how the deflection is being changed, and we are incorporating the structural health with those deflections. Like deflection will be increased or maybe increased due to some temperature effect or due to some heavy loading conditions. But you cannot say that the bridge is going to deteriorate or there is maybe associated or maybe due to the reasons of heavy load or the resonance occurrence or the high temperature effect. So those effects you have to remove, and then only you can you can represent that okay, this is the our progressive deterioration of the deflections. So that is what we are currently measuring. That what will be the deflection deterioration after say for example 5 years or 6 years. So that much prediction we are currently analyzing or predicting.
So yeah, anyways, there are some questions in chat. So one is, are the patented instruments
Okay, the
manufactured
question
by?
is sometimes it is
Yes.
not possible to measure.
Yeah. Let's answer the previous one first. So are the patented instruments manufactured by you?
Because
Yes. So, what actually for structural health monitoring, what we showed you probably 9 or 10 sensors, but there are 20 or 25 different types of sensors that are used or that can be used, or whatever. There are few that we have patented; those only we manufacture. Others we directly purchase and we integrate with our system. By our system we mean we get the data from the sensor, we integrate with our data hub so that data can be sent to cloud, and we can get the visualization done on it as well as the analytics done in our system. So to answer it, there are few sensors, the patented ones we manufacture it, but there are few others which we directly purchase it from the market and we integrate with our system. And regarding the other question, sometimes it's not possible to measure or sensor is not working at a particular place. How do you get the data at that area? So we have two mechanisms to check whether sensor is actually working or not. So we call it heartbeat. Every sensor would be sending a heartbeat every time, not every time, within the interval of 5 minutes or so. So we first check whether the heartbeat is coming or not. If heartbeat is coming and data is not going to cloud, then the data is being stored somewhere. It would go to cloud automatically. But if heartbeat is not coming, so one possible reason might be, yeah, sensor is faulty, sensor is not working, or there is no current power supply to the sensor because our data hubs require some 230-volt power supply. So if that is the case, then the system stops, and in that case, we'll be missing the data. In no way you can retrieve the data. So I guess I have answered your question. And there is another one. Are you use any state estimation techniques to recover the data? So I am not sure what you exactly mean by state estimation to recover data, because but to
Yeah.
answer the recovery, what we know, there are different ways to recover data. Let's say your internet connectivity is there, but due to some poor connectivity, your data is not being sent. So in that case, it would be stored, and later at a later stage when you have connectivity, it would be linked with cloud. So that type of storage or recovery we do. But there are others. Let's say there is no power in the system. In that case, there is no recovery, no data collection until and unless power is there.
Yes, sir. I had this one. If we haven't arranged any sensor at a point, but we want data at that point, so for that there will be some state estimation techniques.
Yes.
I'm asking about that.
Yes. So one solution, as we have mentioned, is the digital twin of that, because in actual structure we place a sensor at a specific locations, and we create a digital twin of it, and we pass the actual sensor data to digital twin and simulate how it behaves, the digital one. And in the digital one, if we find, let's say, a particular location where it is experiencing a huge stress or some deformations or some cracks or faults, but there is no sensor at this place, so you would suggest a physical inspection of that place. So if you create a digital twin, in that case, even if you have not placed a sensor at a particular point, you can get an idea from the digital twin itself. So that is one approach. And yeah, that approach I can think of right now.
Okay, sir.
So, by the way, have you answered your question or did you
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
something else?
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and as you mentioned, you theoretically you can do that state estimation, but we think that digital approach or digital twin approach would be more appropriate as compared to state estimation. But yeah, definitely state estimation you can do.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, I think we can wrap up the event now. Uh, does anyone have any more questions? We can take one more question.
Or if you have any questions at a later stage, also you have email IDs of Satvik and Animesh. You can anytime send your queries to them directly, and they will answer it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, sir. It was really an enlightening presentation and an even more
I hope like
interesting
yeah.
discussion. Hello?
Thanks, Vedasri. Thank you.
Hello, am
I
I
hope
audible?
like everyone has,
Yes, actually we lost
got some
Satvik for some
insights
time.
of. Okay, am I audible now?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Satvik. Yes.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess Satvik is having some issues.
Sir, you're on mute. Okay. Sir,
Yeah, so I guess I am not sure whether Satvik is online or not. Yeah, I guess Animesh, do you have anything to say as a final remark? Animesh? You are on mute.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Animesh. Do you want to say anything as a final remark?
Hello.
I am not sure we are missing both of them. Yes, Animesh, we can hear you.
Yeah, Vishwajit.
Hello.
Yes, Satvik. Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
I think I'm so sorry. There has been a very
Think
poor network connectivity, so I had to.
Yes, Satvik, you can put your final remarks. Yeah, they're.
Okay, yeah,
Shorter.
thanks. So I think to the entire Civil Engineering Society, thanks a lot for this webinar. I hope it was at least you got some insights of the today's generation of the digital era onto this intelligent infrastructural monitoring what we are doing. And I think you got some understanding today with the digital approach that we have been taking in for the future generation of the bridge health monitoring and different structures in general we got. So that's all from my side. I wish everyone all the best for your future. And you can whether Shri or anyone you can do reach out to us for any query. You feel any technical queries, we have the technical experts, Vishwajit here, Animesh here, and for any other details like on the digital side, anything you can definitely reach out to all of us anytime. We'll be happy to help. So thanks everyone. Wish everyone a very happy Diwali also, because I know it's a Diwali time and we have been taking a long evening today from your side. So thanks for taking your time and thank you.
thank you so much, sir. I think many people here would be inspired with the innovative work that you are doing, and this is a really new field. So I think many people do not know about this, but now we can explore more on this. And
Sure, that's what
yeah,
should be.
yeah. So I'm sure, as you had mentioned in your abstract, changing the face of SHM with digital analytics. That's we are really hopeful about it now. And thanks for sharing all your innovative work. I'm again grateful from the entire team of Civil Engineering Society of IIT Hyderabad, and wish you happy Diwali as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, the Civil Engineering Society, IIT Hyderabad.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Have a
Yeah.
nice evening. Yeah.
Okay, same to you. Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.